Oh, good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Not afternoon. And on this beautiful morning of September 16, 2022, we are going to start with uncertainty principle. And as you can see over here, that this question has been repeatedly asked so many times. Okay, so it is being asked almost alternate year. Okay, this uncertainty principle, Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, is being asked almost every alternate year. Okay, and sometimes it is being asked consecutively also. Okay, sometimes it is being asked consecutively also. So before learning the uncertainty principle, we must learn certain basic concepts, and those basic concepts are related to Dirac delta function. Okay, those basic concepts are related to Dirac delta function. Now what are these basic concepts which are related to Dirac delta function? We will learn in this class. Okay, and friends, whatever my dear students, many of you have commented. Okay, I was really sorry, I am not having any time to look at your comments. Okay, because every day I am getting about 65 comments every day. Okay, every day I am getting 65 comments, and it is really difficult, really very difficult to look at each and every comment and reply to it. Okay, and some students, I think they are also fighting. Okay, because what is happening is that someone will write a abusive message, abusive comment, and then the students who love me reply to him. Okay, and the fight goes on. So friends, look, those who are leechers, please don't pay attention to them. You do your own job. Okay, those who are leechers, there will always be haters. Okay, no matter whatever you do in life, no matter whatever you do in life, you will always have haters in the market. A person like Mahatma Gandhi too has many haters. Okay, if a person like Mahatma Gandhi, a person who was so perfectionist, okay, even such a person, if he has haters, there are certain political parties who hate Gandhiji, then what about us? Okay, we are normal people. He is the father of the nation, still some people hate him. So what are we? We are just an ordinary citizen. Okay, so friends, never ever reply to those comments which are abusive kind of or very offensive kind of comments. Okay, you should not reply to them. You should behave like an officer, because even after you become an IAS officer, some people in your office, okay, if you become an IAS officer, then what is the biggest challenge of an IAS officer? Do you know? Your biggest challenge will be that in your office some leechers will be there. Okay, and you in your office, if you can't handle those leechers, then the politician will suspend you. Okay, so you have to be very serious and never ever reply to such leechers, friends. Such, no matter whatever you do in life, there will always be haters. Okay, so don't worry, never look at them, don't reply to them, don't reply in abusive manner to them. Behave like an officer. Okay, so this is my request. I know you love me very much, but please, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. So never ever do such things. Never reply to those comments which seem offensive kind of. Okay, never reply to those comments. And I think Kusum Dashk has again commented. Okay, she has again commented, but even I was not able to reply to her also. Okay, and there are some more students. I didn't get the time at all to look at the comments. Okay, so leaving those things. So Dirac delta function. Now the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle has been asked so many times in the past 20 years, but the thing is that without studying the Dirac delta function, we can't actually study the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Okay, it is a matter of fact that direct delta function is not a part of your syllabus. In your UPSC syllabus, direct delta function is not given directly. But in order to study Heisenberg's uncertainty principle properly, we must have an idea of the direct delta function. Okay? So look at here. All these things you need not look at right now. All these things just ignore. Okay? Because these are the statements of PAM Dirac. Okay? These up to here. Okay, up to here, these are the statements of PAM Dirac. Okay? So do not look at them. Why do not look at them? Because after you download the PDF from my Telegram, I have already shared all these things in the Telegram group. After you download the PDF from the Telegram, you will eventually understand yourself after reading this masala. After you read this stuff, you will understand it yourself. Okay? So no need to look at this, what PM Dirac said. Okay? Now, Dirac never said that call it a direct delta function. Okay? Dirac only called it delta function. It is the people who later on called it direct delta function, because there were many more such delta functions available in the market. There were many more such delta functions. So people decided that this particular delta function will be called as Dirac delta function in the honor of PAM Dirac. Okay? So definition and properties. Now what is the definition and what are the properties of Dirac delta function? So delta function centered at x equal to 0. Okay? Now what does it mean by centered at x equal to 0? See, we have something like this, suppose. Okay, this is x equal to 0, suppose, and suppose this is your function which is looking like. Okay, so clearly this is the graph of the function. So this graph is clearly centered at x equal to 0, because the area under the curve on the left hand side of x equal to 0 and on the right hand side of x equal to 0, the area under the curve is the same. So such a curve is said to be centered at x equal to 0. Your delta function centered at x equal to 0 is denoted as delta x. Okay. Now, whenever your delta function will be centered at x equal to 0, it will be simply denoted as delta x. And when the delta function is centered at x equal to x naught, okay, when it will be centered at x equal to x naught, so this Dirac delta function will be represented as delta of x minus x naught. Suppose I move the coordinate axis. And after moving the coordinate axis, the function gets centered at x equal to x naught instead of x equal to 0. Okay. Suppose I moved the coordinate axis. Initially the function was here, but I moved the coordinate axis, and after moving the coordinate axis, the function got centered over here. Okay. So we have basically shifted the origin. X equal to 0. So what happens is that after we shift the origin, the center of the Dirac delta function at x equal to x naught, its representation changes. And how does its representation change? Its representation becomes delta of x minus x naught. Okay, its representation becomes delta of x minus x naught. Okay, when the delta function is centered at x equal to x naught, its delta function representation changes to delta of x minus x naught. Now one thing you have to bear in mind. Which thing you have to bear in mind? One thing which you have to bear in mind is that this minus sign over here, okay, this minus sign over here, please note it down in your notebook. This minus sign over here is not subtraction. It is not algebraic sign. Okay, it is not algebraic subtraction. Okay, although we are reading it like minus, but it is not minus. Okay, although we may be reading it like minus sign, we might be reading it like delta x minus x naught, but it is not algebraic subtraction. You have to bear this thing in mind. Okay, so the function centered at x equal to x naught will be called as delta of x minus x naught, and this minus sign over here is not algebraic subtraction. Okay, it is just a representation that the function has been centered at x equal to x naught instead of x equal to 0. Okay, so how is this function defined? The value of x at which this function will be centered. Okay, this function is clearly centered at x equal to x naught. So the value of this function at its center, okay, the value of this Dirac delta function at a point at which it is centered, okay, at which point it is centered, at x equal to x naught it is centered. Okay, so the value of this Dirac delta function at a point at which it is centered, that is x equal to x naught at which it is centered, at that point at which it is centered, the value becomes infinity. Okay, and at all the other points other than x equal to x naught, other than the center, other than the point at which the function is centered, all the other points x not equal to x naught, okay, x not equal to x naught. Okay, so at all those points the Dirac delta function becomes 0. So what does this mean? At x equal to x naught, the Dirac delta function will have some value. Okay, some value means it will be infinity. It will go infinitely. Okay, this line will go infinitely. But as soon as I move even 1 nanometer right hand side, even 1 nanometer left hand side, even if I move 1 femtometer right hand side, 1 femtometer left hand side, what does it mean by femtometer? Femtometer means 10 to the power minus 17 meter. Okay, so I think femtometer is 10 to the power minus 17 meter if I am not wrong. Okay, so instead of femto, consider it to be attometer. Okay, attometer, because I am sure about attometer. 1 attometer, how much it is? 10 to the power minus 18 meter it is. Okay, so suppose your Dirac delta function is centered at x equal to x naught, and the value goes up to infinity, this straight line goes up to infinity, then this function is so discontinuous that even if I move 1 attometer to the right hand side, and even if I move 1 attometer to the left hand side of this x naught value, the function abruptly falls to 0. The function abruptly falls to 0. Okay, got it? So the function abruptly falls to 0 at x not equal to x naught. Okay, so it is a highly discontinuous function. Okay, it is a highly discontinuous function. Now you will be surprised to know that this highly discontinuous function, Dirac delta function, is also used to represent the wave function of certain particles. Okay, under certain situations, when we talk about unrealistic wave functions, then this Dirac delta function will come into picture in case of unrealistic wave functions. Okay, so just have a look over here. Okay, let this be equation number 1. Okay, let this be equation number 1, but this condition number 1 is not the complete condition. And the thing which I told you, the thing that it is used to describe unrealistic wave functions. Okay, so that thing will eventually, it is going to come later on. Okay, it is going to come later on. Don't worry about it, but I gave you an introduction. Okay, so your Dirac delta function does not satisfy any condition of being a valid wave function. Okay, it does not satisfy any condition for being a valid wave function of Schrodinger wave equation, because I have already told you in the beginning that there are certain conditions which must be satisfied by a wave function for it to be a valid wave function, and your Dirac delta function is discontinuous function. okay, highly discontinuous function. So how will it be a valid wave function? Clearly it is not, because there were 4 conditions, if you remember, okay, and the Dirac delta function does not satisfy even a single condition out of those 4 conditions which I had taught you in the beginning of the lectures, okay. But still, in order to represent certain unrealistic situations, we will use this Dirac delta function to denote those unrealistic situations. So, and in under those unrealistic situations, we will compare this unrealistic situation and will move on towards realism, okay. From imaginary wave function, we will try to understand the real picture of the world, okay. So such is the importance of this Dirac delta function, okay. So this is condition number 1, okay. So delta x minus x naught, this is not an algebraic minus, okay. It is equal to infinity at x equal to x naught and equal to 0 if x is not equal to x naught. And x minus x naught simply means that it is centered at x naught. Suppose if it is centered at x equal to 5, then your Dirac delta function will be represented like x minus 5. But this minus does not mean that it is algebraic minus, okay. This minus sign does not mean that it is algebraic minus. It simply means that your Dirac delta function is centered at x equal to 5, okay. This is the simple meaning of this representation, okay. So this is your condition number 1. Now let's move on towards our condition number 2. Condition number 2 means definition number 1 is incomplete, okay. Your definition number 1 which I told you over here, it is incomplete definition. In order to complete our definition, we have another condition which this Dirac delta function must satisfy, and that condition has been given over here. So it is written that definition 1 is incomplete. So delta x minus x naught becomes infinity at x equal to x naught in such a way, okay. There is a condition, it does not become infinity just like that, okay. It does not become infinity just like that. How does it become infinity then? It becomes infinity in a unique manner, okay. At x equal to x naught it becomes infinity, I know this, but it becomes infinity in a unique manner, okay. What happens is that suppose I have an ordinary line over here, okay, which goes up to infinity. So, and forget the Dirac delta function for the time being, and just consider that at x equal to x naught, the value of any function f of x at x equal to x naught is infinity. I am talking regarding normal function, not Dirac delta function. Then such a function, when we take the area under the curve for such a function which is going up to infinity, and this is a straight line of 0 dimension, okay. So in such a case, the area under the curve will be 0, okay. Area under the curve will be 0. Why it will be 0? Because line has no dimensions. So when we try to measure the area of this line which is going up to infinity, this area will be clearly 0 because line has no dimensions, okay. But your Dirac delta function is not like that. It has very low width, but it has width, okay. So this it is not a that kind of line, what we can say 0 dimension kind of line. The line which you have learnt in the 9th standard, that line has no width, it has only length. You have learnt this thing in the 9th class geometry, right? But this Dirac delta function, it is such a function that the line which is standing at x equal to x naught, on the point at which this line is standing, okay, your Dirac delta function is centered at this particular line. This width is not 0, although although the width is even smaller, the width of this line is even smaller than 10 to the power minus 18 attometer. Okay, it is even smaller than 10 to the power 18 meter. Okay, not attometer. Okay, 10 to the power minus 18 meter, which is equal to 1 attometer. Okay, this is equal to basically your 1 attometer. Okay, so the width of this line is even smaller than 1 attometer, but not completely zero. Okay, not completely zero. So suppose this line has width 10 to the power minus 25 meter. Okay, such small is the width of this line, which consists of Dirac delta function. But although it is very low width, but it is not zero. So how can we imagine it? How can we imagine it? We can imagine it like this, that suppose we have a function of this kind. We have a function of this kind, which has this area under the curve. Okay, so I will keep on. Okay, suppose this area under the curve is unity. Unity means 1. Okay, 1. But suppose if I keep on decreasing the width, suppose this is the width and I keep on decreasing the width, how Dirac delta function is formed, I am telling you. Suppose I keep on decreasing the width. This is a finite width which is visible to your eyes. Okay, you know this very well, that if I try to decrease the width and if I want to keep the area as it is, okay, if I decrease the width and I want to keep the area as it is, so I will have to increase the length in turn. I will have to increase the length. But suppose if I keep on narrowing down, I keep on narrowing down this strip so much, I narrow it down so much that this width becomes 10 to the power minus 25 meter, suppose. Okay, so as soon as this width becomes 10 to the power minus 25 meter, this line, in order to keep the area unity, the length will be very, very large, and such a very, very large length will be tending to infinity almost. Okay, so such is the Dirac delta function. So the area under the curve, this expression basically denotes the area under the curve of Dirac delta function. Okay, so it is equal to unity. Okay, so we are basically integrating x from minus infinity to plus infinity, and this denotes the area under the delta function. Okay, you need not go that why it is denoting the area under the Dirac delta function. Okay, you have learned this thing in the lower classes. I need not tell it. Okay, so when we integrate this Dirac delta function, which is centered at x equal to x naught, from minus infinity to plus infinity, okay, for the values of x minus infinity to plus infinity, and we simply take the dx, okay, dx, which is this width, and this is what, delta x minus x naught. So when we take the area under the curve, just remember that this thing denotes the area under the curve. You need not go into those details that why it is denoting area under the curve. Okay, so I gave you a hint. Okay, so area under the delta function, it is equal to unity. So basically I have narrowed down the width. I have narrowed down the width from here. Okay, from finite width and finite length, I kept narrowing down the width and it kept increasing the length. I kept narrowing down the width and kept increasing the length until the width becomes 10 to the power minus 25 meter and the length becomes almost infinity, because it has to keep the area equal to unity. Okay, it is compulsory to keep the area equal to unity. So this is a condition of Dirac delta function. Area under the delta function is equal to 1. Unlike your normal curve, what happens in your normal curve? Suppose this is your normal curve, okay, which is not a Dirac delta function. So it is, suppose at x equal to x naught, it is infinity. So what is the area under this curve? It is 0. Why it is 0? Because this line has no width. Okay, this line has no width. We have assumed, because it is according to Euclidean geometry. But this Dirac delta function is very different. It has been obtained by decreasing the width again and again repeatedly, and increasing the length again and again, okay, such that the area remains 1, okay. And over here, in case of normal curve, which might look like a Dirac delta function to some people who haven't studied it much, but we have become expert, okay, we have become expert. So for a normal function, the area under the curve, such a area under the curve will be 0, but for Dirac delta function it is equal to 1, okay. So complete definition, if I try to give, suppose if I try to give the complete definition of this, then what will be the complete definition of this? The complete definition of this, just mug it up, don't worry about it, okay. So complete definition of it is integration x1 to x2 delta x minus x0 dx, okay, for values of x0 from x1 to x2, for values of x0 ranging from x1 to x2, means x0 is greater than x1, but at the same time it is smaller than x2, okay. That means that x0 lies between x1 to x2. So if your Dirac delta function, in case your Dirac delta function is centered, okay, if your Dirac delta function is centered, means value of x0, okay, if your Dirac delta function is centered between the limits of integration, if your Dirac delta function which is centered at x0, so its center point is lying between the limits of integration, then in that case such will be the condition, and under such a situation the area comes out to be equal to 1, area under the curve comes out to be equal to 1. And if your center is not included in the range of integers x1 and x2, if it is not included in the range of limits, if x0 is not there in the range of limits, then it comes out to be simply equal to 0, Now let us understand this. Suppose x1 equal to 4 and x2 equal to 5, and your x0, suppose not 5, let us take it something else, okay, suppose this x1 is equal to 4 and this x2 is equal to suppose 7, okay, then this will be 4 and this will be 7, okay. So which values of x0 are allowed? The allowed values of x0 are 5 and 6, okay, 5 and 6 are the allowed values of x0, okay. 5 and 6 are allowed, 4.1 is allowed, 4.2 is allowed, okay, infinite such values are allowed, but they should lie between 4 and 7, okay. So in that case, if we try to find out the integration of this Dirac delta function, it will come out to be equal to 1. But if suppose the center is, the limits of integration are 4 to 7, but suppose the value of x0 is suppose 3, so 3 is smaller than even 4, so 3 does not lie between 4 and 7, so its integration will yield you 0 value, okay. Similarly, for x0 equal to 8, when it is centered at x0 equal to 8, clearly it is out of these limits, and as it will be out of these limits, its value will again be equal to 0. So for only for center values, okay, only for x0, only for the Dirac delta function centered between x1 and x2, the value will be 1. For all the other values at which the Dirac delta function is centered, not centered between x1 and x2, the value will be 0, okay, if x0 is not included in the range of integer. Which integers? These x1 and x2 integers, okay. If x0 is not included in the range of these x1 and x2 integers, then the value will be 0, and if it is included in the range of these x1 and x2 integers, then the value will be 1. This thing you have to mug up, okay. Now some of the results which you must mug up, okay, just mug up these 3 results, okay, 1, 2 and 3, just mug up these 3 results, okay. Minus infinity to infinity integration f of x delta x minus x0 dx equal to f of x0. So how will we understand this? Suppose x0 equal to 1 by 3, suppose Suppose x naught is your 1 by 3, and suppose f of x is your e to the power x. Okay, so what will your expression look like? Your expression will look like e to the power x delta x minus 1 by 3 dx. It will look like this, right? So you are basically just put this value over here. So f of x naught. Okay, so you will put this value over here. So in the place of x you will have e to the power 1 by 3. Okay, so your value of this integration will be e to the power 1 by 3. In such a manner you have to find out. Okay, similarly you can cross check for this. Okay, so how will you cross check this? You will basically take any value. Suppose x naught is 4. Suppose x naught is 4. Suppose x naught is 4. Okay, so x times of delta x minus x naught means x minus 4 is equal to 4 times of delta x minus 4. Okay, so such is the value. This is the second property. These are the properties in the proof of which you need not know. These are the properties of Dirac delta function, the proof of which you need not know. Proof you need not know, but you should know that these are the properties, because these will be used repeatedly in solving the numericals and further future problems. Okay, and similarly delta of ax is equal to 1 upon mod a delta x. This property you should mug up. Okay, just mug up this property as well. So this property, these three properties, just mug them up, and from here we will do in the next class. Okay, from here we will do in the next class. So thank you very much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, and like, subscribe, share.